All right, we're back here in the studio to look at that last match. What was your impression of that, Moomin?
Well, I just thought that was a good, solid performance from V4 Dirt, to be honest with you. But I'd expected good things of them when the tournament was first starting. It's not as if they're like complete slouches, but V4 Dirt just basically went in there and picked them apart systematically. It was a really good, strong performance for them.
I agree. Kiala, how about you?
Yeah, saw the Butts team go hard for the two bombers, particularly that Hound, and V4 was able to kind of keep that up with their reps. And in the meantime, they were able to pick off pretty much all of the Butts team support. Then it looked like after that, looked like Jay's Scimitar either capped out, most likely, or maybe burned out. They were not getting any reps on that team at all. They just collapsed.
Yeah, that's something I did notice. They didn't seem to be getting too many reps down there. What do you think, Kamal?
I was actually expecting a lot of good things out of Butts Incorporated this during today's match, but like it was said, they were systematically picked apart by V4 Dur. Very impressive showing on their part.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch them the rest of today. So, who do we got coming up next here?
We've actually got Wildly Inappropriate versus Bomberwoff. So, we've got another kind of match that, could be a rerun of yesterday. Who knows?
That's true. How about everybody else's impression, Gamal?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. Who said the next round?
It's Wild versus Boat. So, Wildly Inappropriate versus Bomberwoff. Exactly.
That is an interesting one, considering both teams really know each other's tactics, have both coming out of our Bomber Wafa group. So, and all on paper, one would expect them to be really evenly matched, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see if it turns out to be another chess match like we saw a few of yesterday, or it tends to be a dive in and attack match, right? What do you think, Yaya? They're going to dive in, or are they going to hold up?
I think it could be a pretty identical teams. I think they'll start at medium range and move closer. We'll see.
We'll see. All right. How much time do we have before the next match? Does anybody know?
No idea, to be honest with you. And I know that we're experiencing a few technical difficulties. Please bear with us on that. We are trying to work out what the hell they are, but yesterday was fine. Same stuff today, not so fine.
Yeah, it is a little strange.
But right. It seems that we've got a few minutes to go. So, any more kind of predictions here? Is anyone that you would like to see win here?
I'll tell you what. Between the two teams, they're two great teams. I'm good with either winner. I don't really have a favorite. But what will be interesting is how many messages I get from Wild to come on the show afterwards. How many do you guys think I'm going to get?
I'm going to go with about 33.
33.
42.
42. It'll be interesting to see it. I mean, he didn't get a chance to come in and talk yesterday. It'd be good to talk to him. So I hope he does stop by. I think this is going to be probably one of the most interesting matches of the day to see how these guys approach each other. The Reavers and Space Violence that comes second is going to be another really, really interesting match. So for me, the next two matches are probably the most interesting that we have scheduled. So we'll see.
Yeah, for myself, I'm pretty torn between who I want to win. Because it would be Boat if he didn't have Buttfresh on his team. But then, Wild kind of takes it after that. And I don't know, I'm still really torn.
Gamma, what's your thoughts? Who are you rooting for?
Well, obviously, at the beginning, I was definitely rooting for 13 legs, 65 toes, but at this point, I wanna put my cheering towards the Reaver Squad. They were one of the first groups that I really got into when I came back to Eve, and I just love flying with them whenever I get an opportunity. Obviously, it hasn't been often lately, but I do hope to rejoin them. And I just love watching Asher run his crew because he knows so much about this game and how to position himself properly. He's just a grid foo master, and I'm not really sure if the other teams can really compete with that, except maybe Boat.
Yep, we have the teams landing on grid here, so I think we're going to transition here shortly.
And it looks like we are live. And we've got Bomber Wafa landing on grid, and Wildly Inappropriate landed at 0, and it looks like Bomber Wafa landed at range, I think about at 150 or 200.
That's it. We've got the match underway at the moment. Red team is Wildly Inappropriate. Blue team is Thunderwolf. Wildly Inappropriate, Balgon, Guardian, Fleet Hurricane, Navy Brutix, Blackbird, Daredevil, Ibis, Token Ibis. First one we've seen, I think.
Yeah, that is definitely a ship hull that you don't often see in tournament play, but let's see how Arcsera manages to pilot it.
So, and that Hurricane has been like targeted straight away, which is an unusual call. I mean, that's a fair chunk of DPS there. It's also interesting. Oh, Daredevil gone straight away for Wildly.
And Bomber Wafa really trying to apply a bit of E-War to the Baelgorn and the Blackbird and the Navy Brutix. Let's see if that one's as full tanked as the one we saw yesterday.
It's interesting to see that Bomberwolf actually bought through a Rook as well. So, that's not normally a ship that you would see out here. With Wildly Inappropriate, we've got B3 Ast again in that Blackbird, which we've seen historically. But it seems that, Bomberwolf haven't fallen for that trap this time round. They haven't gone diving in for the Blackbird. They've just been working on the rest of Wildly Inappropriate ships. Guardian in trouble, though, on Wild's team. He's like team captain's taking the hammer in.
But so is Buff Fresh. He's getting down into armor. But for an Oneros, that's not the end of the world. Wild is definitely taking his licks, but he's starting to catch some reps, but I don't think it'll be enough.
He's not moving fast at all. And with the webs and newts, the target painter on him, bang, there he goes. He's gone. So that's a logic component now for Wildly Inappropriate. That's gone. The main part of their DPS is still available. That Neros over on Bomberwolf's team is still webbed. Newts again being applied. We'll have to see whether or not they can actually burn through all of that, but we have to remember now that Wildly Inappropriate, they are running behind.
Now, Buff Rush in the Oneros, he is catching some reps, but it doesn't seem like it's enough. He is getting a fair amount of damage from the DPS that's left on Wildly Inappropriate, but he is also webbed, and he is about 25% armor at this point.
That's it, but that Hurricane's still into trouble, running into trouble itself. And I mean, if that Hurricane goes down, then that's obviously a fair bit of DPS removed. So, yeah, that Neros now is gone. Butt Fresh has been taken out, but that Hurricane soon to follow, I think. Yeah, and there we go as well.
So that's a great deal of the DPS backbone for Wildly Inappropriate taken out of play. Let's see what the Baelgorn can do DPS wise if it's not just a fancy neuting platform.
Absolutely. So we're going to see how the DPS is actually applied. But if you look at the control bar from the Bomberwolf team, it's like a massive bar that they've still got there. So we've just locked Ibis down. That's it. That's surely it now for Wildly Inappropriate.
Yeah, I just do not think they'll have the DPS to be able to compete with Bomberwaffe. It looks like I'd say their biggest problem was not focusing on the small, quick, heavy DPS Purifier and Hound piloted by Wheels UK and 3 Neil.
Absolutely. Well, I think that the early loss of the Daredevil, that would have been relatively a centerpiece in actually doing a tackle and just trying to manhandle the other team. But
lock down
that
one of
didn't
those
work
bombers so that the Brutix could pound them into oblivion.
Exactly, but
didn't work out.
We've got the 2 bombers over on Bomberwolf team that are being flown by Wheels UK and 3 Neil, and they're applying normally lots of damage for what they actually are. That Balgon, Wildly Inappropriate, Maximus Corpus, he's taking all of that focus. They know that Blackbird, offensively it's going to jam them out, but after that, that's all it's got.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Big Red Boat's Baelgorn had a fair amount of sentry drones that would be applying DPS as well.
So there goes the Balgorn for Wildly Inappropriate. Just the remaining Blackbird now of B3 Ast remaining. It's just going to be a matter of time before they actually just close in on that now and, basically take that apart.
Yep, you can see a flight of hobgoblins heading his way right now to begin the process of applying damage while the other ships close range.
Absolutely. So, there again, they're not kind of like rushing out to him at all. We've got that Hurricane, which is doing 1,300, but that Blackbird's still doing like about 1 kilometer a second itself, but it's taking a few hits now.
If it goes too far out, tries to cut them too far, it'll just explode by going outside of the arena.
Absolutely, but there's still like 109 from the beacon, it looks like. So, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pull anyone out and get them to overshoot into a boundary violation. We'll have to see whether or not that happens. But I'm pretty sure that, Gator Grips is burning out there at the moment. He's going to be sensible enough to not do that. Rum B3 asked.
Actually going to be doing the killing blow, though.
I don't know. It's like B3 Ast may actually be making a break for the boundary. It's like, he will be, if he gets there, that will be the first boundary violation. But anyway, there we go. That's that match over.